I don't think that I'm a good person. I don't think that I'm a kind person. I don't think that I'm a generous person or a mature person. I don't think I'm bad either. All I can say I am is that I am. I can say nothing else about me. I can list my attributes. I can say what I look like without really thinking that I am a good or bad person. And I think this is the greatest problem I see in society around me, in my relationships, where people subscribe to beliefs of whether they are good or bad. And I'm going to try to lay out why I think that is a dangerous thing to believe in and why I think it's better not to believe anything about yourself. So this is a rant about believing things about oneself. So what's the problem with believing that one is a good person? If you believe you're a good person, if you believe you're a kind person, you're a just person, you are frank or honest, then you will have to validate that belief from others. You're going to look for validation and approval from others. In my family, I have people who believe that they are good people, who believe that they are smart, who believe that they are capable, and they want others to validate that they are that which they believe they are. If you are going to believe that you're a good person, you're just gonna look for people to tell you that you are that which you believe. And if they don't, or if they suggest otherwise, if you say I'm a good person and you try to get that validation from me, and I tell you that I don't think that's the case, not because I see that you're a bad person, but because I think it's better if you stop believing that you're a good person. So the problem with believing that you're a good person is that that belief will generate thoughts for you, which are going to revolve around the belief you hold. Those thoughts are going to occupy your mental space and take away your energy. And those thoughts are not going to be representing the reality of things, which is that you're neither good or bad, but that you just are. There is no necessity for anything on top of that to be added. There is no reason why it's better to believe anything about oneself. And this is not something I believe. This is not another belief I have. This is a perspective I have after having believed something like that in the past and having come to realize that it's better actually to challenge those beliefs. It's better not to say or think or believe that you are a good person. Not because you're not a good person, but because believing that you're either good or bad is going to take away your power. It's going to take away your power and put it into other people's hands who are supposed to validate your beliefs. Let's take the belief that I'm not a worthy person. I'm not good enough. I'm not sufficient enough. That belief will generate a lot of anxiety. You're going to find the reasons for why your belief is accurate. And you are going to find those facts, you may call them. If you believe you're not good enough, there's going to be plenty of evidence for you to justify that belief. And when you do get validated by the external circumstances, or even other people, that you're not a good person or you're not good enough, then you're going to just reinforce your own belief that you're not good enough. And believing that you're not good enough will be the reason for why you are thinking in terms of you not being good enough. And that thinking is going to consume a lot of your resources, which will then prevent you from actually doing the things which would prove to you that you are good enough. But now, because you're in a loop of trying to validate your belief that you're not good enough, you're going to be stuck in a loop where you're not good enough. You're looking for proof for that. You're finding proof, which reinforces your beliefs. And so it goes. So the solution is to basically identify that all beliefs about oneself, we're not talking about other beliefs, beliefs about oneself are ideas, imagination, which has nothing to do with the actual way things are. If you had to stop believing that you're a bad person or that you're a good person, you would then stop looking for validation for those beliefs. You would stop looking for validation from other people about what they think about you, whether they think that you're a good person, or whether they are reinforcing your belief that you are not a good person, you're not a worthy person, you're not a enough person. So there are many reasons for why this happens, because we are capable of holding beliefs, because we are capable of imagination, we are capable of thinking. We do get infected by the society, our parents, our upbringing, our teachers, and so on, who hold one belief or another about themselves and think in those terms, because those beliefs are going to reinforce or rather taint their perception of other people and other things and themselves. If you do believe that you are a good person, your thoughts will be tainted by that belief. Your thoughts will be influenced by that belief. It's not that that belief will be responsible for all your thinking, but your thinking is going to be colored by that belief. And if a teacher believes that he's a good person, that he's a kind person, he's a just person or whatever, he's going to see things in binary, where if somebody does something which opposes the understanding of what is good, because when I believe I'm a good person, there are reasons for why I believe that. I'm a good person because I help dogs in the streets, or I'm a good person because I volunteer in an ashram, or I'm a good person because my mother told me that I'm a good person, or whatever, it doesn't matter. You're not a good person. There are no good people, and there are no bad people. There are no just people. There are no unjust people. It is hard to accept this as correct unless this is already your experience. So when I'm saying this, I don't expect that people will say, you're right. Because they won't, because they believe otherwise. People who tend to believe things, like, for example, religious people, they tend to believe things without actually examining those beliefs for themselves, where now it becomes their own experience. So what I'm suggesting, and what I was suggesting to a friend actually yesterday, was that instead of believing that which I'm saying, which would make it another belief, I'm inviting people to try to experience this for themselves. Try to experience the state of not believing anything about themselves, as I'm suggesting they should. Neither good nor bad. When you have no beliefs about yourself, when you don't believe that you're good or bad, when you don't believe that you're worthy or unworthy, you're left with emptiness of sorts, where you basically the only thing you can say about yourself is that you are. There's literally nothing else you can say. You can characterize your body, you can characterize your tone of voice, you can say that it's however you want to say it, whatever you want to say about it, but it doesn't make you good or bad. When you have the clarity, when you have the openness, when you have the space available, once you have gotten rid of your beliefs about yourself, that is energy that is freed up now, which you can use in any way you like. You're not obligated to do anything, really. But if you have the resources available, whenever you feel like it, whenever you see the opportunity to use those resources to act on it, instead of letting your beliefs consume your energy. How do you get rid of your beliefs? So your beliefs are sneaky, as in they are not advertising themselves like that. Beliefs are living entities, forms of energy, I believe, which are responsible for coloring or even generating some of your thinking. So there's no way to directly attack a belief unless you can first identify that you are holding a belief about yourself. How you identify that you have a belief about yourself is by examining your thoughts. Like, what are my thoughts like? Do I think about how good I am, or how bad I am, or how worthy I am, or how unworthy I am? Do I feel like other people need to be validating my goodness or badness? Do I depend on other people's opinions? Do I feel that I need to hear what other people think about me? Do I want other people to think anything about me, good or bad? If so, then there's a belief underlying that thinking, whereby you are not whole without validating your beliefs. Your beliefs act as holes which need to be filled from external sources. If you hold a belief about yourself and you're not looking for validation of that belief elsewhere other than yourself, then that belief is not a belief. If you're not looking for external validation, be it from other people or situations, like, for example, if you don't think that you're a good person, if you think you're a bad person, if you think you're nothing or no one, you don't matter, then you're gonna look for clues for why that's the case. You may not explicitly demand that other people tell you that you're not a good person, but you're gonna be looking for clues to validate that your belief is actually correct, and you will be able to find that proof. So what is the way to get rid of the beliefs? The way to get rid of the beliefs is to examine your thinking. See what your thinking is demanding from external circumstances, other people, or situations. You can also work with a therapist, I guess, who could help you identify that you do hold positive or negative beliefs about yourself. And usually it's a mixture of positives and negatives. And once you identify that you are holding these beliefs, and once you are sure that beliefs are not serving you, they're not there to help you. They're not there to help you grow. They're not there to help you live a better life. They're not there to make you whole, really, because you are only unwhole with those beliefs because of those beliefs. If not for those beliefs, you wouldn't be looking for external admiration, which is only there to fill in the void created by the belief itself. So examine your thoughts. And find your beliefs. Once you have found your beliefs, I would say just challenge them. Just confront them head on. But it may not be as simple as I'm making it sound. So instead, you would have to monitor your thinking. And when you notice a thought arises, which is demanding something from others, approval from others, or maybe somebody gives you a remark which you don't like, which brings up thinking in your head, catch the thought, which is the thought which exists because of the beliefs, because of the belief you're holding about yourself. If you catch a thought which is linked with the belief you have about yourself, and if you know, or rather, if you're testing, let's say you're testing this, you're testing the validity of what I'm suggesting here, that all beliefs about oneself are not helping you in any way, neither positive nor negative. No beliefs are helping you in any way. They're not making your life better. They're not making your experience better. They're not making anything better, neither for you nor for anybody else. So when you catch a thought which is linked with the belief you think you have, or whether you're testing whether getting rid of the beliefs will actually make a difference for you. You catch a thought, and when you catch a thought which is trying to reinforce a belief, you don't follow it. What do I mean by not following your thought? choices we make depend on many factors, some of which are our beliefs, our thinking, and all the rest. And pretty much every choice we make is automatic, because the thinking is automatic. You're not responsible for your own thinking, neither am I. Thinking just happens on its own. Thinking happens for the reasons, some of which are your beliefs. And if your thinking depends on your beliefs, and if your beliefs are not serving you, therefore this thinking which arise out of your beliefs about yourself are also not serving you. So if you catch a thought when it starts, then there's an opportunity for you to not follow the thought. For example, I was bitten by a dog yesterday. It was not a pleasant experience in the moment, even though it was quite a lot of fun because it was the first time that I had such an experience. But later, when I was at home and safe, no dogs there, I had a thought, or rather, several times I caught myself where I was thinking what I should have done and how that would prevent the dog from biting me. And that thought was suggesting to me that I'm not good enough in one way or another. The thought that I should have done something differently and I would have avoided a dog bite. It seems like an innocent thought, doesn't it? But it tries to reinforce, or rather form, a belief about myself where I'm not good enough, and I am coming to the conclusion that I'm not good enough. Let's say I'm not good enough at dealing with dogs. That belief will be formed if I let the thought of what I should have done differently live in my head, if I entertain the thought. So I choose not to. Whenever the thought arises, if I can catch it. That's a big if, by the way. It's not always possible to catch your thoughts. The thinking that I should have done something differently is a dangerous thought and will lead to forming beliefs about oneself. So, catch the thought and actively choose not to follow it. It is an effort not to follow your thinking. But that's the only choice. That's the only choice we really have. I believe that. Because everything else will happen on its own. If you don't examine your thinking, if you don't place your focus where you think it belongs, then your focus will automatically go to the places which are most attractive. And thinking is seemingly one of the most attractive things to focus on. When you focus on your thinking, usually you lose yourself in thinking. You become your thoughts. Your thoughts overtake you, your focus fully, and you're unable to alter the course of your thoughts, which leads to all types of anxieties and panic attacks. Unexamined thinking leads to bad life. That's the bottom line. Unexamined thoughts lead to life of automatic decisions, life of enacting beliefs, and that's not a good life. I'm not looking for an automatic life which gets lived by me, by my body, by my system, whatever, without me being in charge of anything. Because my thinking is not me, and my beliefs are not me. And I would say that this is the quality I'm looking for in other people. If you don't believe anything about yourself and somebody gives you a remark, you just don't care, in the sense that if you come to me and tell me that I'm a bad person, that I'm I'm a traitor, for example, and I don't hold the opinion that I'm a just person, you're not going to be able to insult me. You're not going to be able to invoke the rage out of me, because I don't believe that I am a good or a bad person. That makes me dangerous, right? Because if you're trying to insult me and I'm not going to be insulted by what you're trying to do, that puts you in a weaker position, because you're now unable to reach the state where I am enraged by your disrespect or whatever you're trying to achieve with your suggestion. Even if you're trying to tell me that I'm a good person, that I'm a kind person, even that doesn't invoke a emotional response in me. Of course, it's nice to hear that you're a good person, but it is a dangerous territory to enforce your belief about yourself. For that reason, I never offer people compliments of that sort. I never tell them that they're good or bad or anything in between. They are what they are. They can be whatever they want to be. Somebody, my friend actually, suggested that I'm trying to change people. No, I don't think I'm trying to change people or myself. All I'm trying to do is to examine my thoughts and see when they are leading to a place of me believing something about myself or others. This is not about oneself only. It's about believing anything about anything or anyone. Every belief, by definition, is that which we don't know. If we do know something, then there's no need for us to believe in it. I don't have to believe that this microphone is real. I can just look at it, whatever the microphone is, by the way, and I can just know that it's here. It is part of my experience. So I am looking for ways to experience reality without believing things about it. I understand that it's not always possible to experience things without first believing in those things, but I remember somebody said it, Osho said it, that the basis of every teaching should be doubt, not belief. Because if you start from doubt, if you doubt that which I'm saying, but are willing to reach the state where you are having this experience for yourself, in this case, the experience of not believing things about yourself, then this becomes your experience and you don't have to believe anything about it. If you can actually experience the state of non-believing, you don't have to be convinced about its validity or accuracy. You can just examine it for yourself. You can just experience it for yourself. And that's what I'm suggesting that people should do. Is that me trying to change people? Yeah. I think there's a nuance there, which is that if I have an experience of something and I can see other people do not have that experience yet, I get pleasure if I can help bring them to the point where they are experiencing this for themselves. That's the pleasure of helping somebody in a meaningful way. Not because I believe I am somebody who is helping other people, not because I am a good teacher or that I'm a good communicator or whatever, but the pleasure arises when there's an exchange of experience, and then pleasure arises. And maybe pleasure is not the right word, because it may not be pleasure, but like elevated state. Happiness, let's call it happiness, arises when you can share deeper truths with other people. And the deeper truth than beliefs is that beliefs are not helping at all. They're not helping anybody. And I would say that knowledge is not helping with that either. Knowledge often is used to reinforce one's beliefs. And it's unfortunate, because knowledge can also be used to create good abundance, ecstasy, beautiful experiences for each other, for ourselves and others. That's what I'm looking for. That's the experience I'm looking for. The experience of ecstasy, the experience of joy, the experience of deep communication, the experience of communication without beliefs, the experience of honesty, the experience of directness, the experience of openness, and the experience of not holding myself back. That's a meaningful experience. Not experiences where people are trying to validate their beliefs from one another. Fuck that. And fuck those people. So, just a random idea. My own experience is that if you get to the point where you're trying to examine your own beliefs, the way you do it is by examining your thinking, and you examine your thinking by monitoring them when it's easy to do so. And it's the easiest to do so in a relaxed state where the only thing your focus and attention is occupied with is your own thoughts. And that is meditation. That's why meditation matters. Meditation is the tool to examine your thinking. Meditation is the tool to find space beyond your thinking, which allows you to observe your thinking. So, there you go. That's all. Have a good day.